Good morning, Raslan.
Good morning.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for giving us time for this meeting.
Yeah, sure.
So obviously, I'm Priyank Kumar. Right now, I'm from India. I'll be applying to Darden coming fall, and I'm also coordinator for the GMAT club for Darden School.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to ask some of the questions based on ranging from application procedure to about the school itself. So to get to know better about the school as well as about you as well.
Yeah.
So the first question that we had is pretty obvious. What attracted you to overall pick Darden out of other schools in which you got admitted?
Yeah, so I got admitted to a bunch of schools, eventually choosing between Texas, Duke, and Darden. And I think for me, Darden was number one straight away, almost from the beginning. I was considering a couple of like super top schools, but actually right now I'm super happy that I got to Darden because of data science dual degree, first of all. So this right now I can see how big of a difference and a game changer this second degree is. So I think that was my major reason. I also got scholarship, which was helpful in my decision. And I think just personally, I started my MBA path. First school that I've ever heard of was Darden. So it kind of was a little personal connection to it as well.
Great. So right now, a lot of our GMAT club audience, they are right now taking GMAT or preparing essays and their application. So it's a pretty anxious time right now for all of us. So walk us through your application process, experience. I mean, what was the most crucial part of the application according to you, which requires most focus and invest a lot of time and energy for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, and for most applicants, GMAT was kind of the cornerstone and the biggest pain point. So I spent a whole lot of time to prep for that. Yeah. But except for GMAT, I don't think anything else was kind of super complicated. Interviews were natural, especially at Darden, where you were like, I don't know how it is with in India with you guys, but I'm from Russia. My interview was in person with Darden alum.
Okay.
Right, and that was pretty chill. So it was like 15 minutes, tell about yourself, and then we just chatted for another hour or so. Yeah, so essays and everything regarding my application documents and stuff. I had a help of MBA kind of consultancy, so that was kind of dealt with pretty easily, and then the GMAT was my main focus.
Okay, great. Now coming to Darden, Darden is widely famous for its association with its city, Charlottesville. So please share how Charlottesville plays a significant role in the overall Darden experience.
People keep saying that Charlottesville is kind of best place to be at. I would agree with the term that if you want to focus on study and recruiting, there's probably hard to imagine anything better than that. So Durham, Duke as well, and Darden has these small, tiny cities where you don't have anything except for like the university, right? The university is kind of the central piece of central kind of object in that town, and you don't have anything else. But there's a lot of vineyards as well, so people love that. I kind of not a big wine drinker, so never appreciate that a lot. And I feel like the biggest advantage for me was that you actually spend time with your classmates, because compared to like New York or Chicago or big cities, you will not spend a lot of time with your American friends, because they will live their lives, outside of school. Like Columbia is a good example of that, right? You will probably stick together with like international students, but you will have way less exposure to your American friends compared to Darden, for example. And that's people underestimate that, but networking is a huge part of MBA, and you will feel the value later on. So I didn't consider networking as being something important for me when I was coming in, but actually those people, like if you think about it, right, you get a job in America and your classmates will get job too, right? And then when you grow in like 5, 7, 10 years or whatever, they all will be promoted as you will be, right? That's the expectations. And so then you could help each other in having a like large network. Some of them may be your clients, some of them you may, get some help with re-recruiting or getting another job. So it's super important. People underestimate that. And being in the, large school like Columbia, Wharton, in a large city, you will have way less exposure to Americans than here. That was the biggest kind of Charlottesville advantage for me.
Okay, great. So we also know that Darden is focused on case-based learning. So can you suggest how it helps in overall development from a student's perspective?
So I think this is kind of like case method is Socratic method of of education. I felt sometimes, so some of the classes I felt like really good about. For example, I don't know what you would say, marketing was a great example of that. But so for example, economics, I wasn't really glad about having case method, because for econ, nobody knows, even the professor doesn't know what's happening, right? It's kind of like subject where nobody knows what's happening, and I didn't have any economics or business background before, and for me it was difficult because case method, everyone in the class shares their own opinion on the subject matter, right? If in accounting and finance, really cool because there is a right answer. If somebody says something that is wrong, then you will be corrected by either classmates or professor or something, and that's great, right? You will learn through that, and it's amazing. Whereas for econ, nobody knows. Everyone's like, oh, my theory is this, my theory is that. And then eventually you just don't get, 100% of what you wanted. But generally, it's just such a great teaching method. I feel like you can participate, you can, say what you want, what you think, and people will listen to you. You will learn through experiences, which is also very important, because just hearing to professor is one thing, like lecture based, right? But then a guy who was a soldier somewhere will tell his story, and then a girl who was, I don't know, worked in some other industry will share their stories, and so you kind of hear different perspectives, and then you start to think about the matter differently. Whereas if you just listen to a professor, usually his or her opinion will be kind of prevalent, right? So here it works very differently. So you're less so hearing and listening to professors' opinion on the topic, where professors actually try to act as facilitators, right? And then you will kind of listen to your perspective of your classmates and think through and agree or disagree with some points. It's amazing. It's very, very unusual from my country experience. So pretty cool.
Right. So yeah, coming to your experience, you are coming from a sporting background, and you also have some entrepreneurship success before you joined Darden. So what motivated you to pursue consulting as internship, and how did Darden help in that venture?
So my main reason to start MBA was that I wanted to immigrate to the United States. Okay. Right, and then coming from sporting background, sports is not you cannot do that forever. And so I'm now 32. I think I quit sports when I was 30, and then started to apply. Then 1 year of application, and then we started. So I just wanted my first goal was immigrate. My second goal was to find the most kind of respectful company I could possibly find, because I need to build a name for myself and a brand. And the third was the coolness of the job, right? So that I would like it, and it would be sustainable and stuff like that. So when I came to the business school, you quickly realize that as an international student, you don't have a lot of choices to recruit for. So Darden has a lot of companies coming in, as other schools pretty much, but it's like, I don't know, 130 that coming on grounds, and then everybody else off ground. Out of 130, only 35 or even 20, maybe something. I don't remember the exact number, but it's kind of like 20% or something companies that actually sponsor visas. So you cannot even try to recruit with other 90 companies or 100 companies. So out of those like 20, 30 companies, 10 are banks, and then I have 5 or 6 as consulting firms. So it's more than half. And then you would have those Amazon, Google, Microsoft.
Operations.
Yeah. Kind of couple tech companies and couple GMO companies. So I recruit for all of them. So I was like, okay, you sponsor visas, I'm recruiting with you. And then I quickly realized that I bank. So I did go through the whole process. I got my Amazon interviews and 4 other GMOs companies, consulting and bank. But I quickly realized that I, will not be able to work at investment banking. I just don't like the work because it's similar every day. It's pretty much the same stuff. And I was like, no, I need some diversity. So I dropped from investment banking and left with consulting, tech, and GMO. I got offer from BCG. That was like one of the first interviews. So I got 11th January. The interviews were starting at January 3rd or something like that. And then, I just dropped from every other. I haven't even tried other things. Just took it and really loved it over the summer. So just got my offer, by the way.
So just a follow-up question. What are the most of the companies which are coming for internship? Where did your peers mostly go to? Which kind of role or industry does Darden attract the most?
So we are super strong, if not the strongest, with consulting. And the way it is because the case method, first of all. So consulting is client-facing business, right? You need to raise questions. You need to participate in discussions every day with your team and with the client's team. So like out of Darden, almost 100% of the people every year get return offers. So if, we go to consulting for internship. So right now I was recruiting with BCG Dallas, 5 out of 5 from Darden got offers, whereas people from Ross did not. And, for other schools, the percentage is way less. Duke and Darden we're peer schools, and we're pretty good with consulting. I think tech is now the second. It used to be investment banking, but I haven't seen the numbers yet for this year. But investment banking drops every year constantly, and then I think tech is basically gaining that share, so it's raising. Last year, investment banking, when I started, investment banking was still higher than tech. This year might be different, but I'm not sure. So they're more or less in line. So we would have like 30% consulting, and then 15 or 20 or something like that for tech, and then everything under other buckets. So I would say Darden is a great school if you want to follow the kind of typical career path after MBA, which will be consulting, tech, and banking. It's harder to go from Darden to VC or something like that. Almost impossible, but I think that's true for all other schools as well. And probably healthcare is not the strongest at Darden. That I would say. So if you're interested in healthcare, probably like Duke is your better option for that. But generally we're pretty good with all the industries. Typical ones are strong, but others are also pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you define the fit for Darden?
I don't know. People keep saying that. I haven't seen this myself, and I don't understand what that even is. Even with the companies, you will recruit and you'll say, "Oh, he's a good fit. He's not." Like I don't know. I honestly think that, you know, if you're a hard worker, you are okay with kind of studying a lot, because Darden is the most academically heavy school out there. So we study, like, even like right now I'm in internship with all the other schools. Duke is like super chill. They have like, you know, way fewer classes that we have. And like Ross and other schools, like they have less classes. So as long as you're fine with working a lot and, you know, working your tail off, not sleeping first half of the first year, then you know, I think you're a good fit. Why not? But yeah, I'm probably not the best person to answer the question.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all we had. So is there anything that you wish that you knew when you were applying for the Darden? Something that you'd like to share?
I don't think so. I did my research pretty well. I wish probably, like, if I haven't gotten the MSDS mailing list, whatever I got from them, just why wouldn't you consider this or something? I would not apply there. And so it's right now, I think it's marketed better, but so my year was the second year in the dual degree program. So I don't think they marketed that as well as it should have been done, right? So I would say just do research, read about the MSDS program, which is amazing, and companies freak out about this degree. Every single student placed like to top companies compared to just typical MBA. So I would strongly consider this one. But yeah, apart from that, I think GMAT Club, great resource for everything you want to know. Generally, like MBA counseling, even like you can get a couple free sessions with them, right? And get to know a lot. You can reach out to us, like students and stuff, through forums and other resources. Website is a good resource, obviously. So, I mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't say that I wish I knew something more than I did, but yeah, data science would be probably one.
Great. So I think that's all we had. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be posting this interview in the GMAT Club forum. So good to meet you, and hope we'll meet again.
Yeah, hope to meet you too. See ya.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.